one part of our program under Johnson O'Malley and Title IV, and that's the parental cost. That would be things that the parents himself would purchase for the student that the school doesn't supply. And that has been real helpful for our Indian students because so many of our parents don't get paid weekly or they're limited in their income. And when you're attending schools here in Ardmore, they have a deadline that each student must have all his school supplies because the teacher must start on time. And as I went through the classrooms, just going through the hallways and observing the students, not just ours, but not the Indian student, but the others. But the Indian student was always the one that didn't have his school workbooks, pencils, and things that he needed. And a few days delay, it delays our students in getting started in his subjects. And so when we were on this committee, we set up priorities under parental cost. School supplies, so each student will have all his supplies ready to get him started. And all our proposals has been written up for kindergarten through 12th participates in all the programs that are set up by Johnson O'Malley and Title IV.
Would you like to just tell me, and this is, I guess, would be kind of a summary of what you've said before, why you think it's important for these programs to be instituted in a school, not only important for the Indian children, but say important for the rest of the community.
With a better informed student and providing equal opportunity for our students, it puts him in the same flow with the other students in our school. It helps him to participate in the school activities which he hadn't participated before. And by realizing, especially in your sports, he has to hold a certain standard of grades before he can stay on that football or basketball or what have you. Most of these, extra school activities, well, they have to maintain a certain grade level. And but what really kept our students, I feel like, from participating is because they didn't have the money to buy these necessary items to participate. By having both these programs, it has helped football boys to participate, basketball, and any other curriculum that our students are interested in. As long as he maintains his grades, then they come to the committee and say, we have such and such students that wants to participate in different activities. Now he needs, if it was football, he needs his equipment if the school doesn't furnish it. Basketball, he needs his tennis shoes. And so the committee goes ahead and approves these things for the student. And he goes right ahead and participates. So there it puts him up right there with the non-Indian students in our community.
What effect do you think that sort of thing has on his whole attitude or her whole attitude towards school?
They have better student-teacher communication.
Do you think that, say, enjoying cultural programs or this sort of assistance that you get through Johnson O'Malley, do you think that tends to transfer into other subjects and maybe cut down on the dropout rate and maybe improve the students' performance in school?
Yes, by him knowing his cultural background, he knows whom he is, because usually who am I is the first thing they ask. Knowing who they are and what they can accomplish.
Alice, did you?
I think being an Indian student, he is much far ahead because he's been able to speak his own language, most of them. Then when he goes in and starts school, he speaks in the English language. That's pretty smart when he can speak 2 languages. And I think that an Indian student is far more better off than most other people.
Okay. Grayson, do you have any other questions? Gee, I think you all pretty well covered the waterfront there.
Covered.
And you might just nod your head a little bit like you were agreeing with what she had to say.
I hope this mic's not on.
Buster.
I hope that clock is wrong.
It's 3:10.
Okay.
All right. In 1 hour. you have a title, or was you one that teaches the dances?
No, I made records.
Make it work.
Well, he was involved in teaching dancing to the students earlier.
Clock's
That's why we
not
brought
right.
the program isn't going on right now, but it has.
Uh-huh.
So that's why.
So you're a member of the community? Are you parents? You have children in the school?
No, I don't. I have, what I have is this dancing that's in the Ardmore area.
Mhm.
That's in there, Choctaw, so here it is. Been dancing this year and there.
Hope he's not recording
The
this.
music school. The lead, some of the things, never ever had that for so long time.
Mhm.
Back out, trying to teach the area.
See, is that really? I don't know what it's from.
Yeah, it's going.
Okay, Mr. Ned, would you tell us basically what your name is and what kind of activity you're involved with here?
I'm Buster Ned. I'm the chairman of the Choctaw Chickasaw Heritage. I try to hold the ancient Choctaw and Chickasaw dances, and I also try to get to the word to Choctaw people whenever I can when I go to Durant to some of these meetings. And I'm doing this all on my own. There's no one tells me to go or tell me not to go or this and that. I do these things on my own. And about the dances, the reason that we are carrying on these dances is because I think the younger generation coming up, they don't know it, and some of our own generation right now doesn't know these dances, and we are trying to really teach these things that because this is what it used to be like, and I'd like to see it continue. There's a lot of people that ask me about the dancing, and it's good to be able to tell them where it came from and how and why. Or why is that I think that it's the need to know of Indian peoples across the country, even in other tribes. They like to teach these things, and we'd like to teach them to our younger generation, and so that it can be carried on. I believe that in a few years, if this doesn't continue, it will be all out. We won't have it no more, and just be a lost lost culture. And that's one of the things that I really hate to see, because that there is a lot of knowledge has been passed on and handed down from generation to generation. And the importance of it is that if we can do this, I think we have done our job well. And I'm really glad that there are a lot of people interested in it. And also, I've heard so much is one of the important things about our dances, that I've heard so many people say, well, we never have heard of Choctaw and Chickasaw dances, or we never have seen them. So this gives me a great pride to able to do these things. And I feel though that even though we have a small amount of people that's in it, we are actually gaining. What I mean by gaining is we are getting more people into our committee and do these dances.
Now, you work with the kids in the school.
Well, we did at first. I mean, I don't know what become of it, but we did work with the kids in school, and this was going fine, and I don't know just what happened, but then we stopped, and we have been going ahead with the kids that we can get, and we're still teaching far as that goes. We are teaching. One of the dancers that I have, a singer, Ardmore, he's really, he gets in there and pitches and does all he can. And these young children are very good. They're very good at it, and some of them gets the habit that they know it and they really want to go ahead and dance. It's good. That's the way I like to see it happen. I mean, go.
Do they bring their parents into this thing too?
Oh yes, the parents there, and this is what makes it good, because the parents being there, and I've always told them when I have them singing, we usually meet someplace and get the kids to sing, and I'll tell them that about their parents, make them proud of them, because this is one thing that we don't want to lose, the heritage and the culture. And I've seen some of the kids, and they want to dance by themselves, so it's getting where that we are letting them dance by themselves. Maybe we'll have a chance tomorrow to see this. I don't know now. Of course, now we in our committee we have quite a few people, and most of them works, and they're not like I am. I'm retired about 3 times, I guess, and I'm still going on. But that's the way I wanted to see it. What we are doing now.
Tell me a little bit about how the traditions used to be when you were a young person, and how it sort of dropped out, and why you think it's important to bring it back.
Well, and these traditions and culture has been carried down through the years, as I say. I think I said it before, from generation to generation. Our people came from Mississippi, and all our people are actually Mississippi Choctaws. And of course, now those of us that's been born in Oklahoma, we say we're Oklahoma Choctaws. Well, actually, the bloodline, or what I want to say, is that the generation all came from Mississippi. In other words, we are Mississippi Choctaws. And of course, in the records, if being technical about it, well, would be that if you was born in Oklahoma, you have a roll number or something like that called NE or something that way. And then of course we have the original enrollees, and we don't have too many of them left. I think the chief told me something like about 1,500 or more. I mean, in that numbers in that line, somewhere around 15 to 1,700, something like that left. The Choctaws and Chickasaws, I want to talk about Chickasaws within the what I'm talking about, because this way it happened. It was the Choctaws and Chickasaw. I remember, I'm going to go back to about 1933, 34, in there, because at that time I used to go and dance with them, and my grandfather had the dances at all time. There were several, well, in those days there were several older people, like, well, as I said, my grandfather was Logan Parker, there was Columbus Tubby, in the Jack Williams. These were Choctaws. And the Chickasaws, you had Joe Pickens. Well, all came down up, if I put it this way, it'd be a lot better, but the generation of I. Hunter Pickens was here as far as the Chickasaws was concerned, and these people used to come down and dance, and we'd all get together. And of course, some of these dances are of religious significance, but some of it are a little bit different. And most dances, you can tell just about what it is. You have such thing as a snake dance, and they worship the snake at certain, I mean, not at a certain time. They worship the snake because they eat the bugs and so forth out of the gardens and whatever they had there, garden plot or little farming. But then the most thing about the snake dance was what was thought about, and people talked about them, the Choctaw people and Chickasaw people talked about, was the rattlesnake. Of course, now back in Mississippi they had, I think my grandpa used to explain, maybe a huge diamondback rattlesnake. And the Chickasaws, well, they excuse me, they came to these dances because, I don't know, they had their dances, but the Choctaws and Chickasaws, just like I say, was closely related. And I believe that the importance of these dances in gathering was the idea that it maybe just, in some cases, was competition. Now, I'm going to go back to as far as back as Mississippi, as my grandfather used to say it. He said that there were many clans. Now, we're from the Oklahoma clan. Most of the people that are dancing with us, their clan had these dances in stickball games, and also they were about, I think he used to say about 9 or 10 different clans. and they came from Mississippi or down in the Everglades in there, and they would compete against one another in these ball games and the dances too. Of course, now in competing in these games, they call kabucha. The ball stick is two ball sticks look like in the shape of a tennis racket, and they used to compete in these, and most of them would put up their worldly goods, whatever they had, beads or tablecloth or anything that was sort of valuable to them, and they would put these things up and they wrap it up in one big bag, or just wrap it up in a cloth, or in this. And this was the betting. There was no, I don't think there was any money, because this is where they traded. But the games and the dances were mighty near held 5 or 6 times a month. Imagine so many clans. So this was all that the tribes were doing, the Choctaw and Chickasaw were doing. When you go back to the beginning, of course, now, as the saying goes, that the Choctaws and the Chickasaws would be free, or would be free and have a happy life. Now, in other words, long life and be happy all the time. This is what they talk about when the words are still said about the beginning, where when in the beginning, rather, that the Great Spirit, of course, we'll bring it out as God, and this is what they always said. It's not. It wasn't. They didn't use the word God. They used the word Spirit. And of course, now in Choctaw we call that Shalombish. So this was said to the Choctaw and Chickasaw tribe, long life or something like that, and happy life or something like that. Well, this, and then the two brothers, the Choctaw and Chickasaws. The Choctaw is the Choctaw, and Chickasaw, Chickasaw. Well, the two brothers, they separated. Well, they were, as I say, closely related, but then they stayed right close together. Wherever they went one. The other was close by. So anyway, the word that he used to say, I was talking about my grandfather, he used to say that these things that you have to follow, and they had a certain way and certain things that went on. And of course, these dances, they were, in other words, they were supposed to have been rejoicing all the time because of this, and the Spirit had given something to live on, hunting, and you have all your game, and then you had the corn and this, and canes was already there. But this was what the Choctaw and Chickasaw had to follow, was supposed to follow. But then, of course, as things goes, everything changed. And then, of course, after they got here, I guess in the 1800s, and these things were carried on, but then it finally just started drifting away. It wasn't drifting away. I think I don't know, it slowed down for some reason or other. Then in about 1938, 37, or possibly 39, it just cut out. It wasn't cut out. It just more or less didn't go on anymore, and some people talked about it, and of course now my grandfather said, well, we're going to hold these dances and meetings off because of the younger generation going to war. Well, that's myself. In about 41, I went into service, and I didn't get out until about 22 years after I stayed in service. And after I got out, well, as some people asked me to start these things, tried to start it, they said, your grandfather used to do it all the time. So we tried it, and it's going good right now. And that's why I always say I think it is important that the people know about these things, their dances, because the more they learn, it's going to be that better for us, because it'll be carried on. This is what, my grandfather said, this old man we called Billy Washington, his name was Billy Washington, he also stated that, said, don't ever let these dances die out. So I don't know what he meant by that, or I really don't know, but it's just like I say, in my own opinion about it, it should be carried on, because this was our way of life. In other words, it's supposed to have been carried on all the time. and I've encouraged my members, the members in the Choctaw Chickasaw Heritage. I would encourage them to wear these clothes. I mean, this is not something that we just brought out yesterday. It's something that's been going on. It used to be back in years and years ago, and from generation to generation on down. You wear it. It's not. I wouldn't. Some people think, they say, well, if you wear it, they're going to laugh at me. Well, what if they do? This was the way of our life, so I believe that we should wear it. I mean, those that are really interested in it to show what we used to do and what we used to have.
What do you think it does for children? Say, now, most of the kids in the Choctaw and the Chickasaw Nation are not fortunate enough to have a father or a grandfather who knows the tribal history, who knows the heritage and the dances and the songs like you do. Do you think it's a good idea to have this sort of thing put into school programs or into programs like the one you're running? Obviously you do, but what do you think the kids get out of that in terms of the future, their own future?
Well, I believe that the children do get quite a learning. I mean, this is in schools. This is what I've noticed, that while we were out here one time, that one kept saying, "I wonder if he's going to be back tomorrow. I wonder if they're going to come back next week." Well, this does show interest. I mean, in as far as the children, regardless of what you give them, they're going to be interested in it. Well, this is the same thing. If we can teach them, or if they get little of it and they're interested in it, they're going to pick it up. They're not going to hold back. And these things about the children, I like to bring that up too, in schools or even on the job. The younger generation, the Indians, they have a certain backward way, but I believe in my own mind that if the teacher and the student,
when you first meet and all this and that, let me get with the teacher and the student first. The Indian children, as I said before, it seems that they're sort of backward. But this is not it. If the teacher thinks he or she is trying to weigh the children out or the student out, the Indian student is weighing the teacher out. This is the way it works. And this is why, in some cases, a teacher will try to get the Indian pupil to talk, and this is sort of sets him back right now. If you let him alone, let him do just a little bit freely of his way. In other words, don't give him all this. But if anything he does, if he is encouraged just a little, I don't mean go and just give him all your praises and everything, but just encourage just a little of what he's doing, I think the student is going to be, he's going to learn more if he finds out this is, the teacher is not going to be constantly trying to get him to do his homework or something like that, but just an encouragement, just a little bit, and he'll do much better. It's just the same way on a job. The Indians on a job nowadays, I've seen, oh, he doesn't like me. He don't want me to work there. Or he told me to do this. But I've seen, in most cases, I've handled, while I was in service, I've handled a lot of people, but this wasn't Indian. But it's practically the same way. If you encourage a person, regardless of the race, if you encourage a person, he's going to do more for you than you would just say, well, you don't know how to do it. Maybe the person does know how to do it, but does he want him to do it? In other words, he's thinking of other things. As I was saying, that's what I'm talking about, weighing the other person out. And it's that way here. I know I've seen it. And the Indian people, they say, well, he don't want me to work for him, I don't think. This is not right. It's that maybe the person is strongly resented because of him be out in the country so long, in other words, and they come into town to live. This does tend to show that person or his way. But encouragement is about the best thing I can say to the employer or the employee to help any Indians or that goes if they are not very well educated. Now, some of them are educated to such extent that they can understand him, but some are they haven't even gone to second grade, and this what makes it hard. They can write their name, yes, but if the employee works with them for a while, and I tell you, there's a lot of things like machinery, or he's an unskilled man, but you can show that person, you can show that Indian person, this is what I want you to do, this and that, and just show him. Nothing like a practical application is the best teacher, you know. But if you can show him these things and let him go, he'll know. He'll just, I mean, he'll work that much harder. It's just, I don't care whether it's machinery or whether it's loading sacks or something. If you tell him this is what you want to do, if he doesn't know, but he'll go to work, and then of course maybe a week, 2 late, month or something like that. Late, encourage him a little. This was really, it does help the Indian.
What would you recommend, say, to a young Indian person in terms of trying to learn about his history, about the customs of the tribe and the other things, and do you think that would make that young person better able to cope with the world around him in the future?
Well, I would say, as far as that, the history, I know we try to teach it, but the person himself, we always, as I was saying about working, they have a certain, I mean, they have a little initiative, but this is going to have to be up on their own. I couldn't say, well, you go and learn this, or you go, I mean, you go try to get this in history. But if he is interested, really interested, he will come to such as dancing or whatever they have, an Indian, anything that they have in an Indian event somewhere. Well, he will go to it and try to participate. Maybe, but then maybe we're not asking him. I really couldn't. I mean, give you a true answer to that question. It's.
But if you could find something out, let's say that you had a program in the school that would teach something about the history of the tribe, that would maybe bring someone like you in to teach them dancing, and bring somebody else in to show how to make baskets or pots, or
yes,
about hunting or something like that.
Well, this is where we have to say that once he shows an interest in it, then give him a little more, in other words. But in some cases, I've heard about and I've know of that even though you teach here or anywhere you teach him, in some cases, when he goes home, maybe the parents doesn't realize it, but maybe I don't want you to learn, or something like that. See, the Indian kids, they're in the middle somewhere. They're in the middle where the thing is, it might be at the school or it might be at home. We don't know, and this is one of the things I am certain, though, that if anything like this is in school where they want to know, if they get interested in it, they will do it. They will do it once they're interested in it. And if they're not going to do it. They're just not going to participate or anything. But this is the same thing along the line. That's the encouragement. The encouragement to have them learn these things. It's good. I mean, I believe the more encouragement they get, they'll do it. I mean, they try to learn. But as I say, do not overemphasize the case. Never don't go and say, well, you do, I won't give you the apple or something like that and all this and that. They won't. I know some of them won't care to listen. But if you say, well, here's a piece of candy, and he looks at a piece of candy, he takes it or something like that, and then you try and show him this things that you want him to do. It just goes on, and then once he catches just a certain portion, a certain part of anything, wording or reading, he'll go. I'll have to say that. He'll really try to learn, I think.
Could you explain to us a little bit about the
oh, this is what we call the Scofies. And what I brought this along was we have different signs or insignias on this. That's what I would call them, insignias. But I saw another one I wanted to bring along. But you got a X here. This here actually is supposed to be in a circle, and this here is a diamond. Well, now in the old days, let's take this one here for example, this X. In the old days, when they were playing these ball sticks, stickball games, if you went to any of the Choctaw home, they had these ball sticks. If they nailed them up against the wall, it would be in the shape of an X. Well, this X would signify that may or pass, whoever he plays against or whoever he meets, may or pass, cross over and over. Okay, and as I said before, on the diamond, I want to think I could find out from my uncle and of course from my grandpa talking, the diamond was derived from the diamond rattlesnake, a diamondback rattlesnake. Okay, now we've got some more insignias, but it's not on here, so I got the wrong one in the first place, but we'll take this for instance. It might have been just straight, and every piece of red cross right across here. This is would signify that we have in Choctaws, I don't know about Chickasaws now, but anyway, as far as the Choctaw is concerned, this straight line is an imaginary line that is in front of you. This is, in other words, it's a road that you're following. So in this line, this is your road. This is your life. You're going down it. You're following it. So whatever bad deeds you do on this side, you come off the road, and whatever good deeds you do on this side, you're still coming off the road. It'll be on this other side. So this is what it signifies. In other words, it's a straight line. This is an imaginary line or road, and this is what you're following. Okay. Now, I don't have none with me, but it's called half diamond. In other words, just a half diamond like that. This, at the same time, when you're going down this road, imaginary road, you come off of it. So when you come off of it, you come off the road and you do something bad, then you're going to go get back on the road. Well, you're making a half diamond there. You're going across here, back here, then you do a good deed, and you still go across here, and you go back on the road. These are good deeds, bad deeds. You're making a half diamond in your life as you go. Well, the saying is that once you finish your life, you die, that if you've done more good deeds, it's going to override the bad deeds, and that you would go to the, as you would say, happy hunting ground or heaven. And I've got one more. It's a circle. Well, let's just make this as a circle. But this way, a circle. There's the saying, as I said, I've heard this over and over, as my grandfather used to say. He said, the Choctaw people live in a circle. In other words, it doesn't mean that you live here and live back over there, but still that you're in the circle. That anything you do is within the circle. The people you talk to is in the circle. They're all the Choctaws. They're in this circle. All right? Once you talk about your own tribe, another Indian, another Choctaw, he thinks, well, I'm going to fix him or something. He starts talking about another Choctaw. This is in his own tribe. He talks about him. Of course, now, nobody else says anything. If nobody else says anything, it keeps it going, everything going through. This is a circle. Finally, that whatever he had ever said against another Choctaw, it's going to come back around to him. And then when this comes back around him, he'll be finding out why people are sending him. How come he says, well, they don't seem like they like me or something. Well, this is why I say this circle. Well, once it comes back to him, he's probably going to be dropped out. In other words, and then he'll be wondering why this? How come people won't talk to me? Well, this is the way this thing work, and that's the reason they had the circle. Now, even good deeds can go along. Now, in other words, it's this here, your circle. You'll always be in it. If you, just like I said, there is some bad deeds once in a while, but I said the good deeds take care of more. If you have done more good deeds than the bad one, it'll take care of it. But as long as you're following this circle, you live in this circle. If you ever start talking about other your own tribesmen, well, this will put you out. In other words, and it seems to work. I mean, to me, it seems to work because I've seen it happen a lot of time. It's funny. I mean, it's not funny, but it's logical. It's there. It's the things that what my grandfather used to say. Of course, some of the older people used to say these things, and it was funny though how these things. I mean, I remembered them that in the olden days, they used to tell us when we were kids. They'd be the grown-up comes in, you try to listen in. You couldn't do it. Grown-up said to you, get out. Chief's not supposed to hear this. Well, maybe this is why some of this is gone. Some of our culture, some of our ways is gone because some of them didn't get to hear it, or didn't, as a matter of fact, pay attention to it, or something. Well, that was my problem too at times. Only time I've heard most of this stuff was that when my grandfather was eating. That's when he'd talk about it. Of course, I'd sit and listen at it, and of course, it never did faze me one bit. But after years and years, it's coming back. Everything is coming back to me. What used to say, and there were many things that he said that I try to remember, and some of it sometime when some of these other older ones than I am trying to say something about something else, but it all comes back, and that's the way with them. They're saying, well, sure, that's right. And I have seen most of these things that's happening now as I'm telling you. Most of it I have seen. We have where I live is, I know that's where my grandfather used to live. And
why are you interested in passing these things along? What value do you think these things have?
Well, I'd like, the reason not the reason, is just that I'd like to see some more people. I believe it's just need to know. I want them to know it. I want it going down the line. I want the people to see all these dances or whatever we got. It's not that it used to any benefits for me. No, I'm not. I don't look for any benefit in anything. I want the people to know it. I want them to know what it was, and if they can get anything, learn anything from me to carry on all these things, that's my goal. I want it passed on, so it'll be carried on after I'm gone. Well, somebody else take it up and keep it going. It's supposed to be going forever. That's why one of the older men used to say that I was talking about Billy Washington. Don't never let it die down. And I hope this is one of his statements that I'm doing. That maybe the next fella on down generation 2 or later on, maybe somebody else will just keep carrying it right on. That's why I want to tell this. Anywhere you go, Choctaw and Chickasaw, you don't hear nothing. You don't hear nothing. Why? Well, it wasn't carried on. I mean, it came down, it come so far, and it quit. And so, what little that we do know now, I hope that it will always be available to people that want to know about it. And I want it for everybody who are interested, or even who are not interested. I'd like for them to know it, and I hope that everything I say here can help. And it's not that we know it or we don't know it. There's a lot of people knows more than I do, but I don't know. Maybe they don't want to bring it out. Some of this maybe not supposed to be known, but I want it to be known myself. And if there's anything that I can bring out, well, I'm going to do it. This is my idea of the Indian life, the way of the Indian life, and it should be carried on and on, generation and generation. Because once it stops, you have a lost culture and heritage.
Great.